This is, for me, kind of the pinnacle talk of my career in 25 years as a Franciscan friar. When asked to do this, I put together what I believe is my best hope and dream. And what I'm hoping, essentially, is that we'll be willing to go big, that you and I will be willing to somehow seek out the truth and what's lasting and good no matter where it may be found. So I'm thinking I've got two hands. On the one hand, I've got an extraordinary fear, a fear that comes from a dangerous, unethical openness, where you just say, it doesn't matter what I think or believe, I just need to stay open, because you can be open to things that will genuinely hurt you and hurt others, or a lifestyle which could produce stress or some sort of disease. There are so many opportunities we have to participate in things that can hurt us. And so as we contemplate going big and we contemplate religion versus personal private piety, I'm hoping that we can avoid a rather diffused and uncommitted sense of thoughts, staying in some sort of relativism where everything we think and believe is just simply floating in water next to everything else. I really want to hope that together we can avoid any identity and role confusion and to be open to all is to really be open to nothing. Admitting that radical openness really does not get us where we want to go. On the other hand, personal privatized piety can create a misguided charity. You could inordinately fund a war. You can inordinately fund some sort of unethical medical practice, not even knowing it. As you try to be generous and loving and outgoing in the world, you can literally hurt and harm people. You can fund smaller, non-lasting goods. But I'm thinking that there are a certain number of other hands. I have two hands, but then there's a third hand. It might be your hand. And I'd like to have all of our hands around this in some way, shape, or form. I would like to keep my guard up about a few things. I'd like to watch out for hate groups or anybody who promotes hate. This would include gossip behind people's backs. These are legendary, ongoing principles promoted by world religions. And so to go personal, privatized piety can keep you in that gossip ring, keep you at that picnic table where you're taking someone else down. Even though you're just trying to get information and share information, often it's out of fear and wondering if the other person's going to do something to hurt you. It has no place in the religion I'm proposing. And the religion I'm proposing is not Roman Catholicism. I'm trying to be big. I'm wondering, well, I know it's working out pretty well, actually. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind considering that there's some other dangers. Religion and personalized, privatized piety can produce a constricting, a really difficult sort of institutionalization that oppresses people. It can oppress them in their creativity, it can oppress them in their work. It can produce greed. And I'm thinking that people frequently bargain to enslavements. I'm really tense, but I'm going to take a cigarette and calm down. Well, now you've just gone down a road where the ability to calm yourself down also kills you. And so I can't hold in my mind and in my heart something that we could do to bring about the life we want that would also concomitantly hurt us. So I bring you a gift, I bring you a present, and I'm really, really excited about it. Here it is. Take a look. A sense of all people who care coming together over some very basic and common goods. So I'm suggesting that as human beings, unique in all of creation, we have some root-like things and some trunk-like things that are in fact commonly held. Good, lasting, virtuous, creative sponsoring joys. Things that we can gain by working together and understanding in mutual respect some sort of giftedness in each one of us. I am hoping that you will see that this promotes a certain culture shift. Our culture currently, to me, seems to be putting people over there, pointing at people over there. And the people over there are building their ammo dump because they're afraid of people over there. And the people over there, seeing them point at them over there, are building their ammo dump, just waiting for the right time and the wrong thing said to fire. And then there's destruction. And of course, if you're in the Middle East, that firing and destruction has gone on so much for so long, no one walks without institutionalized hatred. It becomes a very difficult place to make human progress. But don't cry, don't cry. Now, you're not crying alone. I feel this urge, this need in everyone I talk to. Some of you are too young to remember Rodney King, but in the Los Angeles riots, there was a truck driver who drove into the middle of a very difficult intersection of horrible unrest about black and white racial tension. They dragged him out of the truck and beat him silly on the ground. He was said to speak in the emergency room of the hospital. Can't we all just get along? And that saying has rippled out in my experience with working with the human family over the last 25 years. Can't we all just get along? Well, I propose that we can get along by learning the plays, by getting that sense of what are the root issues and the trunk issues that are central to a human being a healthy, interactive person. And I'm suggesting you can't get there with personalized, privatized piety. People come up to me and say, oh, you're Father, Patrick, is it Father? Nice to meet you. Catholic? Oh, well, I'm Christian. As if, Catholics aren't Christian. Any student of history will have a time with that. They say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And while I honor that and understand that they're trying to get in touch with that inner side of themselves that brings about a certain peace, I think you have to admit that we do better with boundaries that protect us. We do better with a skeletal structure of what it means to be human. We do better with a structure and a process that enlivens us. And we do better to guard against isolation, against fear and oppression. But you can see that I'm a religious person. As a religious person, you might say, you're just the person who oppresses. You're just the types of institutions that we want to get rid of. What we're looking for is one great big human family. What's that going to be based on? How will we hold something or other in common? That's my hope and my dream. That's what I'm trying to sponsor in this presentation, that you and I can find those root things, those trunk things that enable us to be well with each other. And the first one of them is acknowledging that everybody is unique. Now you say, duh. But do you allow the uniqueness, or are you afraid of it? People sitting in this room, Furman is one of the least diverse communities I've ever served. But the people sitting in this room are so different from one another in their thoughts, dreams, personal experiences, their hopes, that it takes time with one another to listen. And when you listen, you begin to understand. And when you understand, you become capable of loving. This community was so gravely unaware of itself in all of its manifold beauty, the mosaic of Furman, that a program was done to produce huge white letters on black t-shirts that say, "You don't know me." Does anybody here remember those shirts? It was a while back. I'm here 10 years. You don't know me. And what the sponsoring agent was sit down and get to know the person. Instead of doing that, which is awkward and difficult and has the potential of vulnerability and, frankly, rejection, we'll settle for a whale CD. You know Dory from Finding Nemo? She speaks whale. Well, you can go to the Earth store and you can hear the water rippling on a little fountain in there, and you can see the little bonsai tree that someone clipped very beautifully, and you hear the whales in the background. Woo! And you just go into this country club notion of self. Isn't this wonderful? And if you brought into the whale store CD, the whale CD store, your Frappuccino, now you've got inside and outside being comforted. Oh. It's just great, you know? Think about it for a second, though. There are some serious questions. Why are we resisting large, world, historically developed religions? We're afraid. We're afraid. We're afraid that they may oppress us. And I'm frankly with you on that. In my opinion, there's good religion and bad religion. And good religion, you'll know it because you come alive. Good religion, you'll know it because you find yourself interacting and feeling more secure with diversity. Good religion, you'll know it because it ennobles you, teaches you, and trains you, that you have a dignity that is unparalleled as an individual, but that's a gift for the life of the world. And frankly, if you are rejecting big religion, I caution you against the idea that you could cancel wisdom as antiquated. Wisdom will never be antiquated. Wisdom is wisdom. It's the long view. The long view includes all the pieces in it and under it. My hope is that you will not blame religion for the misuse of human freedom. My hope is that you'll seek out a good religion, a skeleton you wouldn't mind hanging some of your flesh on and welcoming some other people to bring it some flesh. My hope, my dream, I have a dream. These children in front of you on the screen are the graduates of St. Anthony's School, a Catholic school educating Baptist children. We're not trying to make them into Catholics, trying to make them better Baptists, trying to make them better human beings. When they graduate, they go forward and give us an amazing story to tell. Federal court judges, local judges, police officers. I'll never forget when a police car pulled up to St. Anthony's one time, and the concern I had in my heart caused me to rush down the sidewalk and say, "Officers, everything okay?" "Oh yeah, Father, no problem, no problem." "Is Miss Carolyn around?" Miss Carolyn's a 43-year teacher at St. Anthony's. He said, "Could I talk to her for just a minute?" So I knocked on the little door and the window and I said, "Miss Carolyn, could you come here?" She opened the door. She goes, "Look at you." He said, "Look, Miss Carolyn, I made captain." For an African-American male to rise up in the police department to captain and then come back to his grammar school teacher to show her says that there's something going on in healthy religion. You are ennobled and given graces, and you are to shine. This little light of mine. You know the song. So I've got two hands, but I want my hands and your hands. I've got two hands. I like diverse hands. I've got two hands, and I want to hold your hands. I want to learn what makes you tick. I want to learn what you're afraid of. I want to learn what you hope for, so that I can not only pray with you for that, but also actively watch out for your pathway and guard against some of those people in those places that are troublesome. Wouldn't you with me dare to dream? Would you dare to dream of a world that builds religions, I don't care what you call them. You know, if your name is John, call it Johnism. But make sure it's about the root and the trunk issues, where you can branch out in safe creativity, and where you can acknowledge without fail the dignity of the individual person from conception to natural death, and where you might be related to them in such a way that your life is meaningful because you share it. Thank you so much. Can I get an amen?